up for Ohio State.
You've waited all day for this.
Don't let that team stand in the way. He's going to take it to the house. 85 yards. Down the right side going Devin Smith. Got it at the 5 and into the end zone. Touchdown.
The one show that's nothing but the Buckeyes.
Oh, Brad Rucker for the touchdown. Kraft shoots it high on the right for 3.
This is the Buckeye Show.
Just when you think it's the offseason for a lot of the Ohio State programs, we get some massive news late last week. We get some massive news today, and we got a lot to recap over the next 2 hours right here on the Buckeye Show. It's Matt Fontana, Austin Ward with you over the next 2 hours right here on The Fan, and certainly big changes across college athletics and a lot to dive into on how that impacts Ohio State. The news coming out from Ohio State today about their bringing an in-house all their NIL collectives and what that might mean for all their athletics. Ross Bjork with a statement. We got plenty to get to, but Austin, before we get to all that, how's your weekend, man? How are things?
Awesome. Great to be with you. Our first Buckeye show together, so it's going to be a fun couple hours, and as you said, a lot to get to tonight, but yeah, had a chance in between all of the downpour, and my goodness, has it absolutely been ugly all afternoon. After camp, well, at the end of Ohio State's recruiting camp this afternoon, it just started raining, and then it was pouring for the last, 3.5, 4 hours. But had a break in some of that on Sunday morning to get out and play some golf, and chance to spend some time with the family, so it was really good. How was yours?
It was good. So you can, I don't want to say commiserate with this, but you know where I'm coming from. As a dad, we had a birthday party this weekend. Now, let me throw this question to you. Is it better to go to a birthday party or host a birthday party? Now, we all know it goes into hosting, right?
Yeah.
But it was funny. We were sitting there eating leftovers tonight because, of course, and I was like, the fact that you get to keep all the leftovers, there's a big slice of cake sitting up there. And I thought about it. I go, that's almost, I don't mind cleaning. Like, I kind of enjoy it. Like, I get a little Danny Tanner in me, if you will. So, I don't mind doing it. So, getting ready for that. And it wasn't a lot of people. It was just my wife's side of the family. And I'm sitting there today, Austin, and I was like, hey, man, having all this food that I had a hot dog for lunch. I had a burger and a dog and a slice of cake for dinner. I was like, that kind of makes up for having to do all the prep and get ready for the party. I'm actually coming over to the other side. I'd rather have the parties at home now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I'd rather have it at home. Sports watch parties, birthdays, anything. Yeah. I think that's better because the other benefit, as you mentioned, you've got the leftovers. Sometimes it can be a little motivation, and my wife will probably laugh when she hears this, but maybe picking up beforehand, a little cleaning afterwards. Maybe the house is in better shape because you're more motivated to handle that. And then, you don't have to drive anywhere. So
that's another good point.
Maybe you're having more fun than anyone else at the party.
I got to go up a flight of stairs. And it's interesting because if anybody ever went to college, or I think when we were all that age, you hated having it because people wreck your house. They'd be doing things they weren't supposed to do. Now, I think that's just an age progression thing.
Yeah, grown-up parties.
The grown-up is now you're just like, nope, everybody come on over. I'll throw the pop-up tent out, the lawn furniture is out. All the outdoor patio furniture is ready to go. Everybody sit back and enjoy your time. Well, it's certainly been a crazy time. And it's Austin, it is so weird to see how everything has just gone so fast from Friday's ruling even to now on Monday. So to get everybody recapped of what happened on Friday, there was really a landmark NCAA settlement coming down from a judge that is basically allowing schools to directly pay their players. There's going to be an allotment of money starting at $20.5 million, which Ross Bjork quickly today said that will be fully funded from Ohio State, and then we'll send that money on out. Obviously, we know men's basketball and college football will probably be getting the big pieces of this, but Austin, it's been a long time coming for this about how they can get the players the money that they're rightly deserved from all these giant TV contracts and all the video games and everything else.
Yeah, and hey, all those administrators and athletic directors and presidents across the country were all quick. The commissioners were patting themselves on the back. Hey, we did it. We did the thing that everyone has been saying for the last 50 years that we were going to have to do. And I do think that that's significant. I don't want to minimize that in any way. But part of me, Matt, also skips to the next thing, which is, okay, you did accomplish something by saying you're going to do this, but the actual implementation of it, there's a lot that has to be done. There's going to be further legal challenges. You can bank on that. Tyvis Powell was in here this morning at 6 a.m. It's like, well, he graduated in 2014. Why is the cutoff to get paid 2015? I think he's probably come to terms with that. I don't think he's going to file the lawsuit, but there might not be many other people, or there could be a lot of people who think that they should be included in that, and then you have to sort all that, and we go through this process again, but you have to establish the rules of play moving forward. You're going to get challenges, I'm sure, to the salary cap, the roster distribution, the revenue distribution, all those things. I think it's significant, and I don't think that we should, rain on that part of the parade, because this is a positive step, but I think it's just one step, and there are so many more that have to be done. We're going to talk to Ross Bjork about that later this week. But as you mentioned, Ohio State knew that this was coming, knew this was likely, and they were prepared. When you look at this, Buckeye Sports Group and the way that they don't have plans to cut any sports, the way that they're going to pay out the full allotment, and that tells you that Ohio State was ready to go on this front. And I think they've got a good handle on where things are going. But again, if these lawsuits pile up and if new ones emerge, I don't know that we're truly going to know what this looks like for several more years down the road, which makes that Friday night news dump, while something that you can say, hey, thumbs up, good job for you. But also you still have to go back to work because there's months and years of labor ahead of you.
I think the biggest thing is how we know this allotment is most likely going to go to college football and to college men's basketball. But to your exact point, Austin, okay, well, within that, there were figures being thrown around that's what some schools' NIL deals were for one team.
Right.
So now you have that for everybody. And it's not like NIL is going to go away. There's still going to be that. And we'll get to the news about Ohio State bringing everything in-house, which I think is a great idea. But to have this allotment, I think, is, to your point, it seems like it solves some problems, but a lot of times when you solve one problem, you end up creating new problems. That happens a lot, and I think you've just opened some things up here where the NCAA is just going so fast in so many areas of this that I wonder, when are they really going to be able to stop and take a breath and get it figured out? I mean, you've got college football playoff expansion, then you have, NIL, now we're here, now we're changing this, now it's even more of this. It's a lot going, and this might be the most complex one because, you've got lawyers and you've got lawsuits and you've got a lot of things involved here.
Yeah, and I think this is, again, not to lean too heavily into the pessimism, from Austin tonight on the Buckeye Show, but there's a part of me that says, when are they going to have this sorted out? The question that you asked, Matt, the answer might be never, and that's okay, because at least now it feels like college football, college athletics, college basketball, whatever you want to say, college sports in general, they at least appear willing to pursue the answer in a way that they weren't before, which is that they had to say that they were going to pay players. Now, in everything I've read so far, they've been very careful not to call them employees, and I know that there's reason for that. But as I say that this is a journey, step one is, okay, here's the payment. Step two is acknowledging maybe some employment status, because that then gets you to collective bargaining agreement and then contracts and all the things that have made NFL or professional sports as stable as they've been for so long. So that's not something that we can expect them to hash out or flip the switch and implement by tomorrow. They won't. And then by the time they get to that point and they're willing to put those guardrails and rules in place, another problem will emerge. That has been the driving force of college athletics as long as that's existed. And it's okay that they don't have a perfect system. There never will be one when you're trying to, one sport has 130 plus, football teams at the highest level. Basketball is dealing with 350, tennis, golf, volleyball, they're all going to be organized differently, and they should be. I think part of the other issue was lumping them all together under the same NCAA umbrella did those sports no favors. They needed different rules. They needed different legislation. They needed different guidance. And it does feel like we're headed down that road. So that would be the optimistic side. But if you think that the work is done, no, it's not even close.
And especially, we're talking about, if you want to just take the sample size of football, we're talking about thousands of athletes.
Oh, yeah.
Now we're talking about tens of thousands of athletes across all different sports. And, I had a great opportunity. I worked with Tim May yesterday on the Sunday Sports Show, and I brought up this article, Austin, about winners and losers of this whole thing. And obviously, winners was the Big Ten and the SEC. They're going to make a lot of money. Winners, the athletes of the big-time programs and the big-time revenue-driving I say organizations, but like football and basketball. But the other side of it was the potential of athletic departments having to make tough decisions. And we'll talk about Ross Bjork and Ohio State's commitment towards keeping their 36 second most in the country varsity athletics. But that's not going to be the case to all schools. And it will be strictly dollars and cents. Are you bringing enough money in? Are we paying for you to take this cross-country trip to go to a tournament? Yep. Or even now, with the geographics of these conferences, having to fly across the country for Rutgers to go play a conference opponent in UCLA or Oregon. There's going to be a lot of tough decisions to come out the other side of it that really have nothing to do with the legal side of it. It's just going to be, this is now the NCAA world that we live in.
Yeah, and good news, we've got a college sports commission czar who's going to oversee all that and help college football. You got to know that there's excitement for that because
can we apply for that job? You want in? You and I can split it.
Yeah, I think we have ideas, don't we?
I got ideas. I'm an idea man. I got a number. You got a number. We'll send that over to him. Yeah. We'll let him know. We'll see.
I mean, we're cheap.
We keep what we're doing here at the Fan. That is the number one byline. We're not giving up to what we do here, but on the side, I think that could be a part-time gig. I think college football czar can be a part-time gig.
You and I talk to enough people in college athletics, coaches, players. We know what they want. We can give it to them. And we know what the fans want, too, which is the most important thing.
Exactly, the most important thing. Well, part of that, Ross Bjork. And he had a statement today on the settlement, but also the big news out of Ohio State as they launched the Buckeye Sports Group, all the NIL under one roof. Austin and I are going to discuss that next. The Buckeye Show here on The Fan.
If you miss a live show, you can catch the podcast. If you miss the podcast, our hosts have volunteered to have dinner with you.
The meatloaf!
The Fan.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
They're trained. They're prepared.
Let's do it.
They're Ohio's undefeated plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling team. And they're here to tackle your problems. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. And no matter what tasty choice you make, our low prices add up to big savings. Plus, you get over $600 in digital coupons each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump and points. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance is prepared for what's next and protects what matters most to you. With independent insurance agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova Insurance is an easy win for your peace of mind. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you.
The future of recycling is now at Rumpke Waste and Recycling. The recycling leader has opened North America's largest, most technologically advanced recycling center right here in Central Ohio. This one-of-a-kind facility features interactive displays, educational opportunities, and the ability to process over 60 tons of recycled material per hour. Rumpke is committed to recycling and sustainability efforts, and for more than 90 years, Rumpke has worked to make sure the items you place in your recycling bin get used again. Visit Rumpke.com to learn how you can team with Rumpke to put less trash in our landfills and more of it to good use.
Can't get enough of
your favorite fan content? Good news, we're on all the digitals. Follow 971 The Fan on X, Facebook, YouTube, The Talk, and Gram. Your digital home for endless shenanigans. The Fan.
Attention Columbus. Town Properties just clinched the title of the largest residential property manager in Columbus, thanks to the Columbus Business Journal. With pride, we oversee 25,000 plus households in the Columbus metro area, ensuring fantastic places to call home. Whether you're on the hunt for an exceptional living space, a top-notch association management company, or a property manager for your multifamily portfolio, visit our website at town.properties.com and let us elevate your living experience. Town Properties, always managing great places to live.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Plenty of clouds around, scattered showers, and a few stronger thunderstorms early this evening. Temperatures in the low to mid-70s. Overnight, we'll fall back down to the mid-50s, losing the showers and storms with pleasant conditions Tuesday morning and plenty of sunshine, a bit of haze in the afternoon. Temperatures back in the mid-70s, west winds about 10 miles an hour late Tuesday. With your 10 weather impact forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz on The Fan.
All Buckeyes, all the time. You are listening to The Buckeye Show.
A lot of news over the last 4 days or so in the NCAA world, but certainly how it impacts the Ohio State Buckeyes. Buckeye Show right here on The Fan. He's Austin Ward. I'm Matt Fontana. Happy to have you. We'll take you up to 8 o'clock tonight. And we're talking about everything coming out of the NCAA last week, getting a ruling coming down from Judge Claudia Wilkin of the Northern District of California, who ruled on a case that is now basically allowing players to be directly paid by the universities that they play for. There will be a predetermined set amount that each university can spend for their athletic department. There still will be NIL deals, and there will be past payments for players up to a decade ago that played sports. Now, as we focus in on the Buckeyes and their news today, where they're taking their two big NIL collectives, the 1870 Society and the Foundation, are now going to merge into one NIL foundation that will be underneath the athletic department. They'll have access to Learfield and a lot of different things. And, you know, I was excited to talk to you about this because you're obviously much closer to it than me, and I wanted to get your take on it. That I think this is such great news because, and I'm not saying this is an Ohio State thing because I really didn't hear this about Ohio State, but other places you heard, yeah, this coach said this, or this guy that I talked to from this university said this, and they don't have that money, or they never did, or even stories of coaches where recruits would ask about NIL, and the coach would go, I'm going to leave, talk to this guy. You know, or I have somebody else that you got to talk to about this because I'm not up on that, or things like that. Like, I just think it really seems to me better protection for both the players and obviously the university, which gets back to something we were just talking about. That's a contract. That's employees. That's why you have a contract, is to protect all parties involved. And I think eventually we'll get there, but this seems to be a great thing. And obviously, I do want to mention, too, that the people that are involved with those collectives are going to come on board in an advisory role. It's not like they're firing the people that worked so hard on those collectives. They'll be involved with it. Boston, this seems like, I really think this seems like a win-win. What about you? Yeah,
it was inevitable that it had to take this step, and that Ohio State and others would be able to bring this in-house. And you've seen some ongoing efforts elsewhere. You know, I think places like Alabama and Tennessee had tried to incorporate some of their in-house multimedia stuff and incorporate that into NIL and fundraising for the school. Like, a lot of people were doing it a lot of different ways. But to your point, when a recruit is coming in for a visit, and this was the nature 4 or 5 years ago, Wild West recruiting, you know, what could Ryan Day potentially say to anybody about what their compensation might look like? He couldn't say anything about that. Right. You know, that was the initial model, was that it's got to be separate. 1870, the foundation, they can't have any day-to-day coordination or cooperation with the schools, that they're their funding essentially through their players, which made no sense. And again, that's why Friday was a significant turning point. And I'll keep saying that, but it's not the final one. But this was a part where you needed to get some control of this, because when you were having not just the separation, the lack of communication, the lack of cooperation, when you were trying to work around all of that, some of the negatives would be if an NIL representative was, let's say, landing a 7-figure deal for a specific player, and then that coach didn't want to play them, then you had a bunch of other complicating factors inside, outside the program. This streamlines, that's one specific example, one benefit, but the one you used as well for recruiting is really apt, because you need to be able to have concrete answers. You look around the country right now, and I'm going to pull an example out of thin air. USC, sure. They're making incredible promises that don't seem like they can deliver them about what's going to happen in the House settlement, how much money is going to come here, or where it's going to go from there. And that's not a viable path for college athletics in general. I do think Ohio State has managed this better than most throughout the last 4 or 5 years. I think that's also why they've become essentially the blueprint for what this model is supposed to look like, not just last year, but heading into the future. But you need to be able to have concrete answers, and current players and future players, prospects, recruits, they deserve to have actual answers that can be validated and verified, and does lead into the contracts down the road. And I hope you're right, because you say it's going to happen eventually. I sure hope so. It needs to. And for the benefit of everybody involved, that's the path you got to go down. But, once you have everything in one place, the resources, the finances, the clear-cut communication, the coaching staff, and all these things are in place so that when you come in to have your conversation, whether that is for a current player or a future player, you've got all the information in front of you. That is a major deal.
I think another part of it, of the trickle-down, where we're talking about it, and I just, there's other sports that I love. I love collegiate wrestling. I follow Ohio State collegiate wrestling probably as closely as I follow football, right? Mm-hmm. And there's people out there that love softball, or the fencing program is very good. They had the pistol and rifle program.
Yep.
Where I think about this, with the NIL in-house, and I own a business, and I want to come and I want to support Ohio State, they can now sit down with that business and say, okay, I know you're really interested in player X, Y, and Z for the football program. Can we talk about some of the wrestlers over here? Or, hey, we have this tennis player that we actually think this would be really beneficial for you. I think it's best to help the other sports. And it also, I think, helps the businesses. Because instead of trying to track down every other different player, or doing these deals here and there, and that's where the foundations really kind of came in and did a lot of that work, which helped so much. Now it's even more centralized, and it's that much better, really, again, for everybody involved. I think it's going to help the university raise more. I think the players are going to get more, and I think it's going to help the businesses feel better about that process as well.
And I think a lot of the quote-unquote non-revenue athletes were the big winners of the NIL era. That's another reason why I say that having the same NCAA rules and every sport and every athlete under the same umbrella, they're not paid the same. The competition is not the same. No matter what avenue you want to look at, every sport needs different rules and different structure. And a lot of them already had that. When you think about college baseball with, the 3-year rule before going to the Major League Baseball draft, some of those had already implemented that, but it wasn't across the board. And no, most men's and women's golfers or field hockey players are not going to get or will never get 7-figure deals the way that Jeremiah Smith or Caleb Downs receive at Ohio State. But they all were getting opportunities, whether that was personal instruction for high schoolers or middle schoolers, or their Instagram. They were really active on there and were able to strike their own deals. They were big winners in that, in their own niche lane of their sports. And I think that was the part where, when we looked at, okay, well, how does this impact college football? What are the rules that you can put in place for college football? The transfer portal is out of control. How can we put limits on some of this movement? It was all a conversation that was targeted primarily to college football, because it is the number one needle mover in the college athletic space. But the benefit for making these moves the way that they are for direct payments is not so much that Ohio State or Georgia or Alabama or whatever can pay the non-revenue athletes and avoid scholarships. That's not the end result. That's not the end goal here. You can't just make rules then that make it more restrictive for all those other, the men's golfers or women's golfers that I'm talking about who might be able to get an endorsement deal and play an equipment brand that they like. You have to find unique solutions that were tailor-made to every sport, and I really hope that this is a further step in that direction.
I don't know if you meant to do tailor-made while you were talking about the men's and women's golfers, but I'm going to give you credit for
Pun
that.
intended.
That was well done. That was well done. Ross Bjork, athletic director at The Ohio State, putting out a statement today, quote, "The signing of the House settlement Friday by Judge Claudia Wilken will reshape college athletics. Ohio State and schools around the country will now be permitted to directly compensate student athletes through revenue sharing, which is actually institutional NIL rights. The Department of Athletics will fully fund the revenue sharing program, which will total $20.5 million, include funding for additional scholarships for both men's and women's sports. We remain committed to maintaining the student-athlete model, offering 36 intercollegiate sports and providing scholarships to all 36. I mean, that was my biggest thing there, Austin, like we talked about, that at this point Ohio State is committed to not cutting any programs. And again, while we know the money of that fund is not going to be direct or, not equally divided on up,
yep.
I think there's just still going to be benefits found to the other sports one way or another.
100%. Ohio State has made that a university mission, an athletic department mission to maintain those sports. They're incredibly proud that they are able to compete at all of them, and they compete at virtually all of them at the highest level in the country. So that's not something that they would flippantly move on from. It's not something that they would sacrifice solely in the name of chasing a college football playoff national championship. Yeah, I think I would say that everyone can agree that that is the primary target for the athletic department, because that broadcast deal, the seats, the sponsorship, and the horseshoe, they fund everything else. That's the economic engine of Ohio State, at least in terms of the athletic department, and really the benefits for Columbus as a whole all come from that. But they're not trying to build a 33rd NFL franchise that plays in Ohio Stadium. They still want them to be part of a larger collegiate athletic department, and they can use that in a lot of different ways as long as they're funding the things at the top and the level that they need to be. Then there's going to be more money to go around for the rest. And I don't want to call them the bottom, because that would be an insult to a bunch of other national championship caliber and winning programs at Ohio State. But maintaining them, it's going to look different. I don't think that you can fund at the exact same level in perpetuity 36 sports. That's always been the challenge for Ohio State. But it is important that remains a priority for them, because they're looking for solutions to do so, when it would be really easy for Ross Bjork and that entire group over there to say, well, the clearest path here would just be cut that sport and all this money's freed up. That's not the path that they're going down.
And I appreciate that from them. And like you said, that's going to be the harder thing to do, is going down the path that they're going. But that's where we're at right now. So we're talking about a lot of money that's going to get handed out. How is that going to look? And how's that going to look for restitution that's going to be paid for players that have played within the last decade? Austin and I will get to that next. It's the Buckeye Show here in the Fan. Back in 2 minutes.
Working your way through that honey-do list? That means more flushes, more showers, more fiddling with a thermostat. Trust the pros at the Waterworks with your plumbing and drain cleanings and repairs and all your heating and cooling needs. Our certified pros can repair or replace your furnace or air conditioner. Clogs? Call the Waterworks. Drain cleaning? Call the Waterworks. Plumbing issues? Call the Waterworks. Furnace repairs? Call the Waterworks. The Waterworks, trusted neighborhood plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling experts.
A healthy body needs good food. This summer, the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce is sponsoring Sun Meals, a summer food program where kids eat free. Children under 18 receive healthy meals and no sign-up is required. Locations may be right in your neighborhood. Call 1-866-348-6479 or visit education.ohio.gov/kidseat for meal locations and times. That's education.ohio.gov/kidseat.
Hey, Ohio State fan, are you ready for game day? Get hyped and get your crew going with the Buckeye Meal at BK. For $20, you'll get 1 juicy flame grill Whopper sandwich, 1 original chicken sandwich, 2 mouthwatering cheeseburgers, 3 crispy golden small fries, and 3 refreshing small drinks. Grab your $20 Buckeye Meal today and share the taste of victory. At BK, have it your way. You rule. Limited time only at participating Ohio area restaurants. Tax extra. BK is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Experience Buckeye game day like never before. Welcome to the 1922 Club, the most exclusive space inside Ohio Stadium, where luxury meets tradition in the heart of Buckeye Nation. Enjoy upscale food and beverages and a game day atmosphere like no other. Create lasting memories with friends and mingling with other Buckeye fans, and celebrate every OHIO in ultimate comfort. Become a member of the 1922 Club today. Memberships are limited. Visit OhioStateBuckeyes.com.
The Buckeye Show is sponsored by CareSource, proud to be your home for Ohio State Athletics. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Are we drinking the scarlet and gray Kool-Aid? You bet we are. You're listening to the Buckeye Show.
Could be a Kool-Aid NIL deal coming for an Ohio State athlete in the future. There are some changes coming, though, and a lot of money getting thrown around right now. We're talking about it on the Buckeye Show here on The Fan. I'm at Fontana. He is Austin Ward. And right now, we've discussed so much about the groundbreaking settlements and a lot of the changes that have happened in the NCAA, and certainly it's going to happen at Ohio State. And the thing we wanted to talk about here was this allotment of money and how this is going to get broken down. So, Austin, they come up with this $20.5 million per year. They did that by taking all the Power of 5 schools, adding up the revenue that each athletic department made on a given year, and that is your average. So obviously you've got ones like Ohio State and Alabama and some really big athletic departments. I don't mean to disparage some other schools. You probably can insert one that you could think of. I don't know. Well, they can't say Golden Flashes might not have just as big of a one. I don't know what to say. So they average it all up, and we all know that there's going to be schools that are not going to meet that $20.5 million. Ohio State has already said they would. Shouldn't be a problem from them. It's just the ceiling. You cannot just go any higher. But there still will be NIL deals available through the third party that won't count against that cap and can be above and beyond that $20.5 million. Basically, Austin, this is money that the schools, like if I went to Ohio State and I was a player and I had no NIL deals, there's still a way for me to get some sort of payment without having to go out there and get them. I can get them if I want, but they're not required anymore.
Yeah, I think it's the above and beyond. It's the over the cap money that I think is really fascinating to monitor moving forward for major college football specifically. That's really the only sport where this seems like it's going to be an issue. Maybe North Carolina and Duke are going to allocate that differently for men's college basketball. But let's set that aside because I don't know that that's going to be all that pertinent to this conversation, no matter how much Rhyme Time wants it to be for his Tar Heels. But that's where the discussion shifts when you're talking about Texas, when you're talking about Ohio State, when you're talking about Georgia, all the same programs that we know are in this conversation. It was not that long ago. You think about last offseason, how many times we had to hear other programs talking about Ohio State, it's a $20 million roster, $20 million roster. They acquired this all-star team and not really paying attention to how they got to that point or why. But the point is they threw that number around all the time. And Ross Bjork, essentially acknowledged that was what they were paying. Well, earlier this offseason, you had Texas, and it was being floated down there in Austin that they were upwards of $40 million. Yeah. And you look around college football in that landscape, personnel directors, the general managers, the people that are being hired to bring in, that's what they expect it to cost to have a college football playoff caliber roster just to get there, let alone to try and win one. It's going to continue to be expensive. And the first time, and when we say there's going to be ongoing lawsuits and that this is not settled, the NIL Go factor, the Deloitte, led group that's going to monitor fair market for NIL deals, which is supposed to level the playing field. The first time that one of those deals gets rejected, that's when the lawsuits get ramped up again. So I am fascinated to see how that implementation works out, because you're not going to be able to keep everyone under the cap. That's not realistic. It's not the way college football has ever worked. Yeah. No one has ever said, "Oh, well, here's the line. We're not supposed to pay players."
Don't you go over that line.
Don't you dare do that. Don't you dare put a $500 handshake in that player's hand after a game. Or this has been going on as long as college football and college sports has existed. So there's going to be places that are trying to skirt the rules and work around it, and that's going to be the order of business. That's the way that this has always worked for college sports. And you see players and programs like Tennessee who are working with state legislature to create rules create laws so they don't have to follow the rules already before the House settlement was determined, which is outrageous and ludicrous. But the point is, this is not going to be, all right, Ohio State's paying $18 million and Texas is paying $19 million. No, it's going to go beyond that. And how all of that is regulated and managed is really the key and most interesting part of this moving forward to me.
Most of the FBS schools that have opted into a plan use the formula for back pay damage. So I want to get to that as well, because the other part of this legislature was there's going to be back pay going out to players that have played over the last decade. Now, it was interesting that this was it $2 billion, but if they'd have lost and taken it to court, there were rumors it had been 20 that they would have lost. They said, okay, we're just going to go ahead and take this now and pay it on out. And the blueprint, 75% to football, 15 to 20% for men's basketball, 5 to 10% for women's basketball, and whatever is left to Olympic and non-revenue sports. Now, I bring that up because that is what they're going to use to pay back all the other guys that were here. Think of Justin Fields and Chris Olave and all the guys that were here prior to this. They'll get paid out. But I want to ask you, Austin, do you think that could be a model that'll work for the 20.5? Because I'm so interested to see how they're going to divvy this up for the money that they have, where it'd be easy just to chop it up and say, listen, you could spend all 20 on a football program. That's pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
I don't think Ohio State is going to want to do that. I don't think they will do that. A model like that, again, 75% football, 15 to 20 to men's, 5 to 10 to women's basketball, and everything that's left over to Olympic and non-revenue generating strictly to the athletes. Like, that sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, and I think that would be my expectation. That's sort of what I've anticipated and has been described to me by people at Ohio State, the way that they would use it. Ross Bjork has been very involved in this whole process really from the start. And when I say that Ohio State is helping serve as the blueprint, they're helping. They're not just their example, it's also their words and actions to get this in place. So I think that will be common. You heard Don Staley, for example, using those exact same numbers and figures earlier in this year and saying how that was unfair and that some schools should be paying up more for their women's basketball. And if that's the route they want to go, by all means, nobody's going to stop you. All they're saying is that this is the cap. It's $20.5 million. Distribute it however you want. The other piece of this, and it's been years, I think, since we've had to really talk about this in terms of scholarship, in terms of financial ramifications, but Title IX still exists. Right. So that's yet another legal challenge that could be coming the way of the NCAA or the College Sports Commission moving forward. And another reminder of why this is step one of what could be hundreds, because not only do you have to find the money and then determine how you want to allocate it, there may be challenges coming to each of these individual schools about the way they're doing it or what the state laws are where they live to what they can actually do and how they can actually do it. So This is so complicated. I mean, you and I have 6 to 8 tonight and 6 to 8 tomorrow. We would still just be scratching the surface. There's too many unanswered questions for us to really know how it's all going to shake out. And that's why I keep coming back to, yes, you've done it. You've started the ball rolling, but there is a long, long way to roll it.
And I know the NCAA at this point feels like they've saved themselves some money, like when I talked about that 20 versus the 2 that they got to pay out now to the prior athletes. But, Austin, there's going to be more because you're right. Some of this stuff, we both worked in media a long time, and I had an engineer way back in the beginning of my time, and he was teaching me, not just how to run a soundboard, but I would do some IT and some engineering and some technical stuff. Mm-hmm. And he gave me this line, and it always stuck with me, and I think it applies here. He looks at him and goes, Matt, some stuff I can't show you until it breaks. There's some stuff that I can't show you how to do or how to fix until it breaks. And I was like, oh, that's a good point. You don't really think about, I don't know how to fix that until it breaks. Like, I think so much about this model. There's so much at the NCAA, they don't even know what they're going to have to fix or what bridge they're going to have to cross until it actually happens. And I don't want to say it's broken because, to your point, there's going to be some stuff that I'm sure is just flat out broken and they're going to have to fix. But there's just going to be some hurdles that they didn't even think about. But the only way to really fix it is to get out there, let this happen, let it get some steam behind it for a couple years, and then just as long as the NCAA is willing to fix the problems and invested to do it, then in 5 to 10 years, or who knows, maybe even 15 to 20, I have no idea.
Yeah.
It'll ever be evolving, but it'll just continue to get better and better, I hope, as it goes.
And the thing, Matt, that they had to break in this was not a rule, not an NIL approach. It was a mindset. And that's the thing that they have to create these other new problems that they're going to find solutions for moving forward. And they have no choice because they have said they're paying the players. That was the mindset. That was the, sanctified view of collegiate athletics, was the student athlete experience and amateurism. You couldn't find all the other solutions until you broke that mentality, that mindset for how amateurism was supposed to be applied to college athletics. And, they'd been chipping away at that, allowing NIL, allowing free transfers, instituting the portal, doing all these other things that have happened in really rapid succession over the last 10 years. There's been more dramatic change in college athletics in the last decade than there was in the previous 100 years. And that's a good thing. And Friday night is the culmination of that, because they finally took the sledgehammer to that notion, could never have a school pay the athletes. And now that opens up a bunch of opportunity for them to shape what college athletics looks like in the future. That part is exciting. We have to be careful with how much excitement we allow to seep through, because otherwise they might get this notion that they're done working, and they're not.
It's going to be a long and winding road, and sometimes there's twists and turns you don't see. Eventually we'll get there. Ohio State, known for their running backs. They got another big one in state, and former Buckeye in the pros, really sending a nice message about his time at Ohio State. We'll get to all of it on the Buckeye Show here on The Fan.
The only workplace in America to participate in the Doorknob Fart Game. And we also play office basketball and sometimes do radio. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
That's are us. When dreams don't get in, that's are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
That's are us. When dreams don't get in, that's are us.
The best outcomes for treating cancer come from early detection and early diagnosis.
The James Cancer Diagnostic Center at Ohio State
is designed to provide rapid evaluation and a clear diagnosis.
We are transforming care by giving patients direct access
to cancer experts who study and treat cancer every day.
If you think you have cancer, the choice is clear.
Choose the James Cancer Diagnostic Center.
It's Kubota Orange Days. From America's #1 selling compact tractor to zero-turn mowers and versatile RTVs, get your perfect match delivered to your door. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,500 off BX23S tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Visit BuckeyeKubotaDealers.com to find a dealer near you.
It's game day at Raising Cane's. If you want to order like a Buckeye, it's the action off the field you need to focus on. The only play you're running is chicken. So what combo are you picking? Make it a perfect season. We've got tailgates of hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers and cane sauce. And jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade. All available to order online or on our app. This season is about to be unbeatable. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love. Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Come on over to Heartland and join our family.
Now, community banking is the lifeblood of the American financial system, building strong, lasting relationships. We're just better able to help guide you down life's road. Flexibility is paramount to success. Community banking is alive and well in the Heartland. I'm Scott McComb. Come on over to Heartland, where banking really feels good.
Where banking feels good. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
After an audit of our programming, the suits here at the Fan decided we needed more baseball. And that common man is stupid. Good news, we fixed one of those problems. Catch the Reds on the Fan all season long. Yay, baseball.
The big focus in America today is on your health, and you're determined to look beyond pills and steroids and surgery to feel your best, right? So I want to talk to the person who is in pain right now. Or maybe it's someone you love. You've done everything they told you to do, and the pain just keeps coming back. Hey, it's Tyvis Powell for QC Kinetics. They are different. These are not quick fixes. This is a revolutionary treatment that works to give your body long-term relief. You'll meet face-to-face with Dr. Aaron Wilkoff and the QC Kinetics medical team. They'll explain how their regenerative treatments take your body's own healing power and helps heal and restore your damaged tissue. These are well-respected protocols that include potent and powerful cellular level treatments. QC Kinetics has helped tens of thousands of people, so many of them right here in Columbus, Ohio. They'd be honored to help you as well. Yes, you can say goodbye to that chronic pain and live your best life. Find out if you're a good candidate. The consultation is free. Go to qckinetics.com/Columbus or call 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544.
Want to know anything about the Fan's contests, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
The best damn radio show in the land. You're listening to The Buckeye Show.
Big news on the recruiting front as Ohio State keeping a 4-star running back in the state. We'll get to that. And a former Buckeye in the pro reminiscing about his time at Ohio State. It is the Buckeye Show right here on The Fan. He's Austin Ward. I'm Matt Fontana, and want to remind everybody that you can join us for the inaugural 971 The Fan, The Race, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center. It's a 5K run and 1-mile walk happening on June 21st at the Otterbein University in Westerville. Some of your favorite fan personalities will be there. Tyve's going to be there. Common Man, T-Bone, Reeser, and 10 TV's Adam King going to be running the race in a suit and a tie. He's going to do his best Rich Eisen out there dressed up for that. Every participant gets a finisher medal, a race shirt, free photos, and awesome gifts from Logan Services and Raising Cane's. The inaugural 97-1 The Fan, The Race, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center and sponsored by Impact Health and Wellness and the Ohio State University Army, ROTC. Sign up today at 971thefan.com. And Austin, you and I working together for the first time. So we've known each other for a little while doing this, but I've been a lifelong Ohio State fan. My wife graduated from Ohio State. It's my son's favorite team. Yeah. So, I've been a fan as long as I can remember, and it's like, I was thinking about getting ready to do this to talk about a big recruit for the running backs, and I was like, man, I know quarterbacks, they've had some really good ones come through. I know right now it's pretty much wide receiver U. Yeah. But some of the running backs that have come out of Ohio State, and not necessarily always, I mean, there's been some that have had plenty of success on the pro side of things, but even just talking about just strict collegiate careers and some of the Big Ten records that have been set, I mean, Ohio State just turns out running backs like nobody's business.
I mean, just try and narrow it down to a Mount Rushmore of Ohio State's best running backs. That's almost impossible. Even if you narrowed it down and you removed Archie from the conversation and you removed Eddie from the conversation, just do the 2000s. All right, good luck. You're still not going to be very easy. Urban Meyer had a way for it, and the term didn't really stick, but I'll never forget the way that he described it in the quote. It's like, Ohio State running back is a Cadillac position of college football. And he's right. And there are a bunch of people willing to wait in line and try and get that chance to go play at running back for Ohio State. And, Favour Akih here, he's the latest to add his name to that list. But Quinshon Judkins wanted that opportunity a year ago and left Ole Miss to get it. So that thing's really not slowing down. Carlos Lachlan has really just been here for 14, 15 months. Tony Alford left to go coach on the other side of the rivalry during spring camp a year ago. So this is one of the first opportunities in a lot of ways to evaluate a full recruiting cycle for what Carlos Lachlan wants that position to look like. Off to a pretty good start.
Yeah, and Favour Akih, he is committed to Ohio State now. He's out of Delaware, Rutherford B. Hayes High School. Had offers from a couple of Big Ten schools, Indiana, Iowa, a couple of MAC schools as well. But he stays here and comes right into Ohio State, which, again, I think about kind of that position where, obviously, Akih might not get very many snaps coming up, but there's just so many guys that are interesting at that position. Bo Jackson, not that one, the other one, the freshman. And then obviously Peoples, who I would assume will get a lot of it. Donaldson, who transfers in as well. But, like a lot of positions, just when you have a team that's good, you had a lot going to the NFL. You had two that were pretty high draft picks as well. But a position that I'm really going to be zeroed in this year and seeing how they do. Yeah,
and I think that it's twofold when you're looking at what Carlos Lachlan, what he's charged to do with these Ohio State's running backs this year, because yeah, you have to recruit, you have to refill that pipeline, and you can't really evaluate that in real time. Even if you have commits, even if you get them signed, the true evaluation and analysis will have to wait till several years down the road. What did they do when they got to Ohio State? How did they perform? So that development piece, you talked about James Peoples. Carlos Lachlan has had a year and a half essentially to work with him. We saw James Peoples get in games a year ago, really exciting coming off the bench. And if you weren't in a spot, if Quinshon Judkins had not materialized for Ohio State and been willing to play alongside Travion Henderson with a partnership that worked out, I think, well beyond anyone's wildest imaginations for how two top-flight NFL draft picks could share a workload and get along in a meeting room and all those other things. Like, that was the ideal scenario for Ohio State. And it also now allows Carlos Lachlan to, go into this year and tell James Peoples and C.J. Donaldson, this is how I operated a year ago. This is what we can do with both of you. It's in your best interest maybe to share some of the workload and not have the wear and tear to get you to the next level. So that applies to the current team. And then you also go out on the recruiting front and say, well, I coached these guys for a year. Let's look at how that was managed. I'm going to do this again with James Peoples and C.J. Donaldson. So, there's still a couple other running backs that are on the board for Carlos Lachlan in this cycle. He's got one. He's not going to be done. And I think you're going to see this moving forward because Ohio State, they talk about it a lot with getting through 16-game seasons and not trying to put, stay healthy, stay fresh. Don't want to have 600 carries on your running back to try and get them ready for the NFL draft. I think, even just getting through a game, having two guys who can perform at a high level is really critical, let alone an entire season. So Carlos Lachlan has, he's got the testimony to back up that theory, and I think you're going to see a lot more of that moving forward.
Yep, and of course, Favour Akih will be here next year to join that group. Really talented and seeing exciting how that goes. Now, Guy, you mentioned Quinshon Judkins. We saw what he did last year, and obviously drafted by the Cleveland Browns, and he sat down with Nathan Zagura with the Browns and spoke about his time at Ohio State. Here's Quinshon Judkins.
I seen Denzel, and he's like, oh, wait. When I first walked in the facility, and I see all the guys, and I met a lot of guys that are Buckeyes on the team, and for them to be all around and still have that brotherhood, and they say it and speak on it, so it's pretty special, and it's a lifelong thing.
And I think that coming from somebody that did spend the chunk of their career somewhere else, and it's not that he was putting down Ole Miss in any way like that, but Austin, we hear that from so many players, and it is the fact that Ohio State has so many players in the pros that I think it's interesting that brotherhood does carry over so much because, I'm going to shoot from the hip right here. Is there an NFL team that doesn't have a Buckeye on the roster, at least somewhere, either on practice squad, active roster, and if not multiple ones in a lot of different positions? The Jets have about half of the Ohio State roster from a year up there now. But it's like I just think that is so special. But it does start with their time in Columbus, and it's just such a badge of honor for those guys to have when they make it to the pros.
Yeah, I think there might be a couple, but you're probably not going to build a very successful NFL franchise right now if you have no Ohio State flavor on your roster.
What do you think? Ohio State, Georgia, probably want some Bama guys still.
You just they're winners, yeah. And the thing that I think elevates these players, and, it may sound hyperbolic, maybe recency bias, whatever. I think it's true. What it takes to survive at Ohio State comprehensively. I'm talking about getting through Mickey Marotti's strength program. I'm talking about dealing with the pressure of being expected to win every single game you play and win every single snap. And, the scrutiny that comes, the fact that there's a Buckeye Show for you and I to talk about, and it's all year round where we're talking about Ohio State football. The pressure, the strain, getting through school. Ohio State is the only program in the country with a perfect APR. None of that is easy. And so you're talking about the elite of elite when it comes to high achievers, and they've had to deal with that for multiple. Quinchon and Will Howard, that was 1 year for them. That was enough, I think, for them to elevate and push to the next level. But you're talking about a Jack Sawyer or a JT Tuimoloau, 4 years of that grind. That's the kind of people that you're looking for at the NFL level.
Absolutely. And again, carries wherever you go with being a Buckeye. All right, we got the college football pulse, 3 stories coming out. Reimer's got them. Get to them next. Buckeye Show here on The Fan.
Catch T-Bone and Tyvis weekday mornings from 6 to 9. If you're not completely satisfied, we'll rewind time and erase your brain. For real, The Fan.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But with an unpredictable economy and the future feeling uncertain, you're wondering if that equity will still be there when you're ready. What if you could bank that equity right now? With Truehold, you can sell your home for its current value, so you can access your equity today. You can bank the cash now and stay in the home you love with an easy standard lease. Truehold even covers property taxes, insurance, and repairs. And since Truehold hands over your equity in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't let a shifting economy put your hard-earned equity at risk. Visit Truehold.com and receive their competitive offer on your home in just 48 hours, based on its current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
What is dippable and dunkable? And now at Donato's, it's Donato's new chicken dippers. Flavorful boneless chicken breast tenders served up with 7 amazing dipping sauce options, including new garlic parmesan and sweet chili. For a limited time, try new chicken dippers for just $5 on the $5 Pizza Pals menu. More toppings, more flavor, more fun. Donato's. Gotta love more.
As America's largest custom home builder, Schumacher Homes believes a top-quality home should be affordable for everyone in the Buckeye State. We work with the leading architects to bring you the latest in design, and then you have the ability to make changes. Not just selecting finishes, but moving walls, adding rooms, literally customizing anything from the ground up. It's a misconception that custom homes have to be expensive. We work within your budget to build an amazing home on your land. Visit SchumacherHomes.com or any of our 9 Ohio locations.
Health insurance companies are expected to carry health benefits, but CareSource does so much more. We look beyond doctors' offices and hospitals to see the challenges that face our members. Then we help them achieve not just better health, but better lives. Along with great benefits, we also help our members find stable jobs, housing, childcare, and rides so they can find greater independence. At CareSource, we're removing barriers. We're improving lives. We're reimagining healthcare.
We've got a story about a little bean doing big things. Soybeans are used in creative ways you may have never realized to make products we use every day. And Ohio's farmers are growing some of the world's best soybeans. By using and eating soy-based products, you make a positive impact locally and globally. Say hey to the largest ag export in the U.S. Learn more about soybeans at soysecrets.org. This ad brought to you by Ohio soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. The Fan. Sports. Sports Center.
Good evening. I'm Jacob Reimer. The Reds are up in Cleveland beginning a series with the Guardians tonight, and Terry Francona's first return to Progressive Field as the Reds manager. Francona spent 11 seasons as the manager in Cleveland before stepping down for health reasons. At least one win in this series by the Reds will clinch the Ohio Cup for Cincinnati. They are currently scoreless in the second inning. In hockey, the Stanley Cup Finals continues tonight after the Oilers and Panthers split the first two games at Edmonton. Their series now switches to the Sunshine State for Game 3. Puck drop is at 8 o'clock. No NBA Finals tonight until Wednesday when Oklahoma City heads to Indiana for Game 3 with their series tied at 1 game apiece. And off the news of the House settlement from over the weekend, Ohio State announced today the formation of the Buckeye Sports Groups that will direct the NIL opportunities. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
It's time for the College Football Pulse on the Buckeye Show.
We got some stories for you. Reimer going to bring them up. He's Austin Ward. I'm Matt Fontana right here on the Buckeye Show. We'll take you up till 8 o'clock tonight. I'm going to sit down and watch that Reds-Guardians game. There's always that rivalry. Tito adds something special to it as well. But both teams right around 500. Love to see them both back in the playoffs, so we'll dive in for that. Hour to go, though, and we do have the Pulse. Reimer's got the stories. Take it away.
All right, before we dive into the stories real quick, since Austin mentioned it in the last segment, what is your guys' Mount Rushmore of running backs at Ohio State?
Oh, my gosh.
All right, I am going to limit it. Austin, I'll open it up to you if you want, but I'm going to limit it to, like, my fandom. So I'm going to say 2000s and beyond. Okay, Zeke has got to be on it. There's no question on that. I mean, it's got to be Clarett. I was like a big Mike Weber fan for some unknown reason, but I was. Like, I don't know if I could put him on the Mount Rushmore.
Had some pretty big performances in the game.
Yeah. Like, JK comes to mind. I love Travion Henderson. All right, put Henderson on there to go with Zeke and Clarett for me. Boom Heron comes to mind. I'll let Austin. Give me some other names that round me out. I'm interested for yours.
Yeah, I could make one. I've been covering Ohio State for 13 years, and you could still build one that's really
just in that 13,
really impressive. Yeah. Just starting, Carlos Hyde just bouncing off of defenders when I first got here, covering the 2012 Ohio State team. Zeke, I think Zeke is on any even generational Mount Rushmore. It's infuriating to me that they don't vote for the Heisman after the season, because then Zeke would have one in the trophy case based on what he did on that playoff run. JK does not come up enough in those conversations. I mean, you have to start. Like, we can all just say, like, is there a Mount Rushmore above Mount Rushmore where Archie and Eddie and Keith Byers all exist? Because, like, they, the game has changed since then, but they're elevated. I don't know why Rhyme Time decided to do this at the start of the Pulse, because it's like we could spend the rest of this show arguing over the best running backs.
Debate all of it.
I know. And it's a Cadillac position, right, man?
Yeah. I wanted to catch you guys off guard.
You did. And there's no way we can narrow it to 4.
I just pulled it up. So obviously Archie, 5,500, right? JK second at about 4,600. Then Zeke, then Eddie George, then Travion Henderson. Find me a top 5 for any college program with that. Archie, JK, Zeke, Eddie George, and Travion Henderson just in the top ones there. Beanie Wells in the top 10 as well. I just remember Brandon Sane, because that was like about the same time that I was coming out of high school, and he was from Pickwa, so like there was big news about him going there. Oh man, there's another one. Austin and I are about the same age, so he was like right about like when I was coming out of high school. He's from the northwest part of the state, and I can't. It's gonna annoy me. I'll find it out later in the show, but I'll definitely go Zeke. I will definitely go Travion Henderson. I will go Maurice Clarett, and JK finishes out for me.
Talking about Antonio Pittman, maybe?
Maybe Pittman. That's probably what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Yes.
All
yeah.
right.
That's it.
Gotcha. Now the Pulse, Reimer.
Now, Reimer, we got it.
All right, in a deal made with ESPN, TNT Sports is expected to expand its college football playoff rights by airing one semifinal game from 2026 to 2028. TNT aired 2 Saturday first-round games for last year's playoff. They still have that for this season, was also set to have rights to 2 quarterfinal games from now to 2028, now adding a semifinal game to those years as well. ESPN still owns the broadcast rights to the college football playoff through 2031. So just imagine this past season, we get Ohio State against Texas in the Cotton Bowl for a spot in the national championship, but broadcasted on TNT, produced by ESPN with ESPN broadcasters. Does this do anything for you guys?
No, I'm worried, Austin, because like the rest of these like say what you want about Fox and ESPN, and like the CBS product is just fine. NBC knows what they're doing with Notre Dame and the other games, but like there's a reason that they're the best. There's a reason they have the best commentators, but they have the best production people and the best replay and truck and all the other people that are involved with it. I know that the production will still be on their side, like Reimer was bringing up there, but I just, everybody wants a piece of the pie, and you got to realize some people just do it better than others. Some outfits are just better.
This might be a relatively meaningless thing to get worked up about, but I am worked up about it. I hate it. I think that this is gross in a lot of ways. When you're talking about the College Ball Playoff Committee and the schools and the commissioners and the leagues all sitting down and making this deal with ESPN, it's for a lot of money. And I understand from a business sense why ESPN needs to turn around and look at other ways to recoup their money, make sure that they're whole. I get that. But if you can't pay for it up front, maybe don't do the deal in the first place. That seems like a fair place to start. We all learned how to budget with allowances back when we were 6 and 7 years old, and you can't buy the toy that you want if you don't have enough money saved up. So go mow the lawn and find some more ESPN, but outsourcing it to somebody else, I don't think that the Big Ten or the SEC, when they enter into this deal, think, you know what? One of the 3 biggest games on the college football calendar, we're expecting that to be on ESPN. We're expecting that to be part of a megacast, ABC. We want Pat McAfee and AJ Hawk down there on wherever, ESPN2. ESPN News is going to have Paul Keels and Jim Lachey's feed for you. Like, that's what you are anticipating when you strike this deal, because that's the way it's always been done. And they're like, wait a minute. This cable channel that maybe everyone has, maybe they don't all have it. I don't know how they're going to work around that part. It's supposed to think about the overall good of the game. These are supposed to be the biggest one. Even a casual fan, a diehard fan, everyone wants to be watching these showcase opportunities. And now ESPN is going to shuffle it off to TNT. I do not care for it.
I don't. It's a branding thing, too. When you think of college football, you think of the outlets that they're on right now, and it goes both ways. So I'm with you. I'm not a big fan of it.
So it sounds like in this article that it was almost like a trade was made when ESPN took on the inside the NBA, and then TNT Sports obtained the rights to Big 12 football and men's basketball games. So maybe a little transition coming there.
I don't mean to cut you off there, Reimer, but like today or the other day it comes out that Warner Brothers is dividing back up again, and now they're going to, half of it's going to be over here and half of it's going to be over there. Like, everybody's running to streaming. Everybody's running to grab properties to try to get people to do what? Sign up for a free trial, pray that you forget about it, and then all of a sudden you get your credit card bill and I signed up for Max and I forgot. Well, they got their $20 out of me for this month. Or, oh, wow, I found this show that I do like. I will keep up. Like, that's the only world that we live in anymore, is trying to scam people into signing up for whatever streaming network, even though the vast majority of us have exhausted every free trial that we've had with every email that we got, and we sit here today paying an exorbitant amount of money for cable.
Just as much as we ever did.
Exactly.
All right, next up, aside from waiting on the House versus NCAA news, which we got over the weekend, we are now waiting on the NCAA's ruling on Michigan, who had a 2-day hearing over the weekend on the sign-stealing scandal. We don't know the added punishment yet, but what do you guys think it will be?
I mean, what now, 11 violations, potentially, level 1? I mean, Austin, it's been an absolute scam and charade that the NCAA has turned this into. The fact that they get to keep their national championship, I don't understand that. You want to tell me that it didn't impact or it didn't matter? I can't buy it for a second. And I'm really, a self-imposed 2-game suspension for Sharon Moore.
And he gets to serve it whenever he wants.
3 and 4. Like, one of those games is Rutgers, isn't it? Or something like that. Like, come on. I don't understand how the NCAA has just stood by and, oh, gee, do you really think Michigan's going to give themselves a harsh enough penalty? Let's sit back and wait. Let's give them a chance to really hurt themselves. Oh, boy, they didn't. Never saw that coming.
Yeah, I think it was suggested to me because I had thought as much evidence as exists in this case, which is probably more than the NCAA has ever had going into a committee on infractions hearing with one of these groups, especially as unwilling as Michigan has been to participate or take it seriously as they've thumbed their nose at the process at every turn, including with this ridiculous self-imposed 2-game suspension for Sherron Moore that for reasons that they describe as, well, he just wants to go coach against his alma mater. Okay, well, maybe don't break the rules and don't delete your text messages from Connor Stallions, and then you'd get to coach like normal. I guess it's going to take 45 to 60 days. I thought it could be done quickly because most of these hearings have not actually got to the hearing stage because you have the programs participating and actually taking the process seriously. Michigan has not. So, they're going to they've had their last chance to plead their case, to try and argue down those 11 violations into something more manageable. It's the lack of institutional control piece that is critical in the next step here. I know this is not just about Ohio State. This is across college football and primarily across the Big Ten. There will not be satisfaction with Tony Petitti's constituents if Michigan does not receive a minimum 1-year postseason ban. And I don't see how that's too much to ask for because, as Matt said, we all know that they won the trophy 2 years ago. We saw the games happen. Taking it away is not going to erase our memory banks. They sold the merchandise. They celebrated. They had their parades. Jim Harbaugh danced away to L.A., got a new contract. All that stuff happened. It has to be forward-facing. It must be a postseason ban, or else there's going to be a lot more outrage moving forward.
And I do wonder, with so much of that evidence mounting up, if eventually they're not just a plea deal. When they understand,
they should have done that already, Matt.
That's what I'm saying. I'm shocked that it's gotten to this point of there. But now that, okay, we'll give you your time, we'll give you the, these 2 days to sit there and go back. That's my thing. And it's like, I cannot stand Michigan. I can't. I never have. I never like them. I don't. I was talking about it with Tyvis last week. My kids, who I love dearly, they can go anywhere that they want in this great country except that school. That's the only school they can't go to. So
I think it's a reasonable standard to set for your family.
That's what I said. And I was like, listen, they could be, I'm not even talking athletics. They could be the world's greatest cellist. They could be a molecular biology savant. And I go, if it's good enough for you to get in there, I'm assuming it's good enough for you to get in somewhere else. So we're going to go somewhere else. All right, let's go over here. But that all being said, the fact that it's gotten to this point and they continue with their semi-defiance of just sitting there and not saying, like, they're begging the NCAA. They are pushing the NCAA, go ahead and do it. Go and do it. And I just, that's what I'm hoping, that they just come down and they say, listen, we gave you every opportunity to come clean on this thing. You didn't. You haven't to this point. I think there's maybe one last opportunity for them to come out and just say, all right, you admit what you did, and we'll get you a plea here. But if not, I hope the NCAA hammers them. And
that's the crazy part, because they finally did admit to wrongdoing when they self-imposed the suspension on Sherron Moore. And then even when they took that step, it's unserious. They're not a serious program with the way that they handled that.
Right.
2 games, and it's not the first 2. There's no way that the Committee on Infractions will look fondly on that. They did not bring forth an actual negotiated resolution, because that's not one that the NCAA could accept.
Right. Yeah, that's a tough thing. All right, Reimer, quick one. You want to get the poll question out for everybody?
Yeah, so with the poll today, with the House settlement coming out, the fan poll sponsored by Caster Connect gave us, has college athletes getting paid via NIL and now revenue sharing lessened your experience of how you follow college athletics? What would you guys answer that question be?
I'm going to say no. Product is good on the field. I enjoy it. There's star players, and there's good football games. I'm going to say no.
I love it. I love it as much as I ever have. I've always thought that they should be getting paid. And I think it's been more challenging the way that they've had to manage all of it. And I think there are millions of improvements that can be made with the portal and roster turnover. And if there are fans that are turned off by that side, I can certainly understand why. It is a lot easier to support your favorite team when you know how long the players are going to be suiting up for you. So that's something that can be improved for sure. But on the flip side, for me, not just as a fan of college football, but as someone who works in college football media, I now have 365 days of content, so I'm cool with it.
There's never a bad thing about that. Well, we did our Mount Rushmore of running backs, and it's crazy to think that even after just one season, Jeremiah Smith might be knocking on the door of the Mount Rushmore of wide receivers. That being said, there's an alternate universe that he didn't come to Columbus. It's scary to think about. We'll talk about that and a friendly rivalry he has with another player in college football. Comes your way next year on the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
Winners of the prestigious Platinum Microphone Award every year, given to the best radio station in the world. No need to look it up. It's real. The Fan. Get ECO.
ECO. Hey, Jerry, I think I invented something.
Does it solve a problem?
It solves a big problem.
Get ECO.
ECO. Heating and cooling companies are telling people your furnace and AC isn't worth fixing. You need to replace it with a whole new system.
You invented a solution for that?
I invented a way to fix those systems for free.
Get ECO.
ECO.
That's a great invention. How does it work?
Step 1 is to pay ECO to fix it.
I thought you said you'd fix it for free.
Step 2 is that we give you back all the money that you paid us, up to $1,500 when you get ECO to replace it.
Get ECO.
ECO.
What if your repair keeps my system running for several more years?
That would mean you got all those extra years for free.
Paying ECO to fix your AC system is like putting money in the bank.
Get ECO.
ECO.
Get ECO.
ECO.
Get ECO.
ECO. ECO plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
Get ECO.com.
Things are popping at Al's Delicious Popcorn. With over 80 flavors to choose from, we have something for everyone. From classics like caramel cashew, white cheddar, and our famous vanilla butternut, to new flavors like chicken and waffles and spicy barbecue. They are all made fresh and they are all delicious. Visit us online at alspopcorn.com or come see us and experience the best service in town at 1500 Bethel Road in Columbus. Al's Delicious Popcorn.
Go behind the scenes of one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of college athletics with a tour of Ohio Stadium presented by Experience Columbus. A seasoned redcoat will be your guide as you make your way through walls of the stadium, into the press box, and onto the field. Upgrade to the VIP package and get special access to the band center and the Ohio State home locker room. From corporate outings and school groups to single-person tours and small families, Ohio Stadium tours offer a variety of options and pricing. For more information, visit ohiostatebuckeyes.com and book your tour. Ohio Stadium Tours, presented by Experience Columbus.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
AgPro has been family-owned and operated for over 64 years. We take pride in developing long-lasting relationships and offering first-class customer service. Need a new tractor, parts for your used equipment, or reliable service? AgPro has you covered. AgPro is here to serve you and your operation as your hometown dealer. Visit us today at any of our AgPro locations or go online to agproco.com to get started with your AgPro experience.
Rothman and Ice every Thursday at 2:30 for Gold Jacket Thursday.
Presented by the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
A new Hall of Famer joins the show every week, but not OJ because he's dead and probably a murderer. The Fan.
Hello, I'm Ross Bjork, Senior Vice President and Eugene Smith, Wolf Foundation Endowed Athletics Director at The Ohio State University. In partnership with AEP, Donato's, Kroger, The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center, Huntington, and 10 TV, Ohio State Athletics strives to inspire the community to make a positive impact on children and families in our great state through the Buckeyes Care Initiative. Show and share your support in the community by using the hashtag BuckeyesCare.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Plenty of clouds around, some scattered showers, and a few strong thunderstorms possible across the south. Temperatures in the low to mid 70s. Overnight, we'll go back down to the 50s by Tuesday morning and dry it out. Plenty of sunshine Tuesday, back in the mid 70s. With your 10 weather impact forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz on The Fan.
If you still have a weird rash from jumping in Mirror Lake, we can be friends. This is the Buckeye Show.
I'll have to ask my wife if he jumped in Mirror Lake. I always say, Austin, I wasn't smart enough to get into Ohio State. I was smart enough to marry somebody that got into Ohio State and graduated from Ohio State. That is my lovely wife. So that's her story there. I'll have to ask her as soon as we get off the air. I go, do you get anything from that water in Mirror Lake? I don't know. Austin Ward.
I don't know how you could avoid it if she's been in it.
I was going to say, I asked her, I go, what was it like? She's like, it was just really cold. And I was like, yeah, that's fair. And obviously a lot has changed over the world, over time and all that. But yeah, she's like, it was just, and I thought about it, like, oh, do you like it, like, just put some water in like a water bottle or something, keep it? And she's like, no, who are you? And I'm like, I don't know. I would have done something like that. Just hold on. Like, one of the things, I know you're a golfer. Like, I want to go to Augusta and just steal a divot. I know you're not allowed to do that. Like, they'll throw you out.
Oh, yeah. You'll be arrested on site.
On site. Well, first off, I need to get to the Masters, which is a big enough problem on its own. But, like, yeah, I'd love to, like, be able to steal a divot or something like that. But another story for another day. The story for us here on the Buckeye Show is Jeremiah Smith. So I thought this was really... I love this kind of stuff, Austin, where it was a discussion between Ryan Williams, of course, Alabama freshman wide receiver from a year ago, and Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State. And Ryan Williams was talking about their friendly rivalry, about iron sharpening iron, where these two young men, they could be playing on Sundays. And that's hard to say that. There's only been, I think, a few examples of guys that are 19, 20 years old that you really could say could have an impact on Sundays. And I think these are two guys that could probably do it. But I think having that, where the Big Ten and the SEC are, I'm going to say aligned for lack of a better term, but I think like these two conferences, as different as they are more aligned than they ever have been, just because you're going to see more games, not only in the regular season, but you're going to see them in the playoffs. The expansion of both of these conferences has made it inevitable that these teams are going to have more and more overlap. So you see two stars of the sport like Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams. I don't know, call me a sucker. I think this is pretty cool. I really like this.
Yeah, I'm glad that they have that. They're sharing that EA Sports cover together, which is why we've seen a number of interviews and a number of quotes coming from these two. But this notion that's out there, and I read the story. Rhyme Time sent it to us. Matt, we're looking at this like, oh yeah, we thought about playing together, and it spins off into all these other stories. Oh, they could have been together at Georgia, and I'm going down this rabbit hole and trying to replay Jeremiah Smith's recruitment in my mind, and like none of this makes any sense. Like, what are you talking about? No one like the 247. Tracks all the visits. And it could be unofficial, could be official, whatever. They're like, well, we don't know of any time that Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith were on a visit to Georgia at the same time, which, okay, that could be a workaround. There's unofficials. There's other Tennessee and Michigan both have shown plenty of examples of you can sneak around some visitors however you want, and maybe no one will find out. I'm not saying that happened in this case either, but maybe it's a possibility. Maybe they weren't at Georgia. Maybe they were somewhere else. I don't know. But Ryan Williams was never seriously going to go to Georgia, and I know that Jeremiah Smith wasn't. The actual threat, if there was one outside of Ohio State, now he did visit there in, like, I don't know, the summer of 2023 maybe. I'd have to go back and double check, but like the real threat was Miami. And unless maybe Ryan Williams was considering both of them getting paid to go there, I'm trying to wrap my mind around the buzzy headline, which is the notion that two of the best sophomore wide receivers that you're ever going to see in college football playing together could have happened. Like, no, it couldn't have. It wasn't going to happen.
No, it's your point. And Ryan, we get the clip coming up in a second, but like, yeah, Jeremiah Smith's from Hollywood, Florida. So like, okay, fine, you get Miami. Ryan Williams from Alabama. You're telling me that he wasn't going to go to Alabama at that time. And I know geographics only play a little part of it, but let's play the clip. So here they are talking about that kind of parallel universe where they could have linked up together.
on a recruiter visit to Georgia.
Yeah.
Oh, you're on the same visit to Georgia.
Hey, I tried to get him to. I was like, "Come on, let's team up." And he was like, We thought about it. We did think about it. But,
Do you think about that now? Would have been like if you guys were on the same team?
That would have been crazy. I don't even know how you stop that.
I ain't gonna lie, you can't.
See, I buy that there wouldn't be enough footballs to go around either. You know, like it's probably best that those guys are not on the same team.
Well, Jeremiah Smith, that's different for him. He can go anywhere, and he's going to be the number one receiver.
Yeah.
And I hate to – they're both really good. It always sounds like I'm insulting Ryan Williams when I say that, like, Jeremiah Smith is clearly better than him. But I would say that against, like, any – certainly in their class, there was no comparison between the two. It was fun for a month. And Ryan Williams had some sensational performances. He did what he did against Georgia. And there was a time when people were like, oh, I wonder which one is really better. And then by midseason, Jeremiah Smith was still on his rocket ship, and Ryan Williams was cooling off, and Alabama was losing to Vanderbilt. So I don't think there's anyone who actually thinks that it is a 1A, 1B situation. Jeremiah Smith is clearly the best wide receiver in the country. But he also went and was willing to play on a team where the football was going to have to be shared by Emeka Egbuka a year ago. Brandon Ennis was the number one receiving recruit in the country the year before Jeremiah Smith signed. Carnell Tate exists at Ohio State. So I think he's got a very pro-ready mentality, and he is not a selfish, me-first wide receiver. He's more than willing to share the football. So from that perspective, I could see how that was maybe in his mind that they could go play on the same team and it wouldn't impact their numbers. Only one of them still can touch it on any given play. And I don't know Ryan Williams. I haven't talked to him. But from covering Jeremiah Smith, I could be like, well, yeah, he wouldn't be intimidated by that. And he does like surrounding himself with other like-minded elite performers.
Well, I think that's part of the reason why he found his way to Ohio State. I mean,
100%.
he knows, and that's why that selection was so important. And to your point, because, like, again, I just remember listening and watching and everybody getting excited. And the Ryan Day clip is one of my favorite clips also when he gets the news and he fake passes out. I love it. It's one of my favorite.
I don't think it was fake. I was like 10 feet away.
Yeah.
Those knees were buckling for real.
Buckling knees. I love it. It's still one of my favorite things. But, that's why I remember that day, because everybody said, they're like, we're keeping our eye out. We're pretty sure, but we still need to, like, kind of keep our eye out until it actually comes across. But, yeah, I think that's part of the reason why he's in Columbus. And, to your point, you're right. They could have been together and they could have been doing that. But in 2 years, I feel pretty confident saying that Jeremiah Smith is going to be taken I would say way ahead, but like he's going to be an extremely high draft pick in that draft. And I'm not saying again that Ryan Williams is bad or he's not going to be, but to your point, I agree with you 100%. There's a gap there, and Jeremiah Smith is not only the best wide receiver in college football, I think he's the best player in college football right now.
Yeah. Marvin Harrison said it, when Berm and I were talking to him on Pro Day. He said, because Marv is great, and we know how accomplished he is. He's a Heisman Trophy finalist, first-round draft pick. He said Jeremiah Smith is the LeBron James of football. Not college football, football.
That's a high mark from a guy, like you said, that had done it before. I'm really excited to do this because Austin had his summer recap, or the summer camp recap, and I was following along, and they had a lot of different players in. I want to talk to Austin. We'll do this so everybody can be a part of this too. How important the summer camp is to not only the recruits, but to the coaching side of things, and some of the nuggets that he did pick up from that camp last week. We'll get to all that coming up. Buckeye Show right here on The Fan.
Are you ready for the ultimate entertainment experience? It's all here, only with Spectrum TV Select. Popular apps are included: Disney Plus, Max, Peacock Premium, Paramount Plus, AMC Plus, and more. And live TV for sports, entertainment, and news. Enjoy across your devices no matter when or where you are. Get Spectrum TV Select and start streaming your favorites today. It's all here. Visit spectrum.com/entertainment. Restrictions apply.
Working your way through that honey-do list? That means more flushes, more showers, more fiddling with a thermostat. Trust the pros at the Waterworks with your plumbing and drain cleanings and repairs and all your heating and cooling needs. Our certified pros can repair or replace your furnace or air conditioner. Clogs? Call the Waterworks. Drain cleaning? Call the Waterworks. Plumbing issues? Call the Waterworks. Furnace repairs? Call the Waterworks. The Waterworks, trusted neighborhood plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling experts.
For over 30 years, Schumacher Homes has been building affordable custom homes throughout the Buckeye State. Experience true customization on your land, your way, without any compromises. Come visit any of our 9 Ohio model home and design studio locations to see the latest in design trends and learn about our award-winning building process, or start online at SchumacherHomes.com. You'll be surprised how affordable a custom home will be. Schumacher Homes, proud home building sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
It's game day at Raising Cane's. If you want to order like a Buckeye, it's the action off the field you need to focus on. The only play you're running is chicken. So what combo are you picking? Make it a perfect season. We've got tailgates of hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers and cane sauce. And jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade. All available to order online or on our app. This season is about to be unbeatable. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love. Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
The Buckeye Show is sponsored by CareSource, proud to be your home for Ohio State Athletics. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Ryan Day's favorite radio show. Probably. Maybe. You're listening to The Buckeye Show.
Ryan Day was busy last week with one of their summer camps, and you're going to want to check out everything Austin and Berm have. Of course, Austin Ward, I'm Matt Fontana here on The Buckeye Show tonight. And you guys had it all on the 971 Fan YouTube page about what happened out at camp. And I know a couple quarterbacks were in there. And Austin, just explain to everybody why these camps are so important, not just for, well, really both sides. Why is it good for the players, and why do the coaches like having some of the top recruits there for these summer camps?
Yeah, it's great. It's great for the players because it is direct access. And I'm talking about the prospects, the recruits, the high schoolers, the middle schoolers. I mean, this is one of the best coaching staffs in America. And, you know, it's not the full group that won the national championship, but Ryan Day is certainly the figurehead. Brian Hartline's still out there. Tim Walton running around with the corner. So if you are, even if you're not ever going to sniff an Ohio State offer, let alone play for the Buckeyes, you have a chance to, you know, pay whatever you want. I don't know what they're charging this year. You're going to get that box lunch. You're going to get a T-shirt, and then you're going to be able to get coached by Brian Hartline, Tim Walton, Keenan Bailey. If you're a tight end, whatever position, like you're talking about some of the best in that profession, and they're giving you their full attention. And they've also got their players out there as counselors. So Brandon Ennis, you know, Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith was out there today. He wasn't at the first camp on Thursday, but JJ was there today. He might give you a tip, and he might also give you an autograph. I saw a bunch of people bringing out their own footballs and Sharpies for that today. And, you know, Jermaine Matthews working with corners and talking trash on the sideline. It's a really cool experience for these kids. And they are kids. You know, sometimes we forget about that. Even the Buckeyes and on the roster, they're young men, but they're still out there to have fun. But they're giving of their time. They're giving of their energy. And why you would turn that down if you had a chance to just go show up and work out at the Woody. I don't know why that would be the choice that anyone makes, but you see just hundreds and hundreds of kids taking advantage of that. They did on Thursday. They did again today with camp single day camp number 2. Got another opportunity tomorrow and Thursday to do that. So it's big for them. And then for the coaching staff, you never know who you might find working out at these camps. Last year, Bodpin Miller, you know, he was an athletic quarterback. Certainly he had no doubt about the physical traits that he could bring to whatever program, but it was like, well, you know, if he's going to play quarterback, he might be maybe a MAC guy at best. But Brian Hartline saw him run, clocked a 4.4. It's like, can you run some routes? Yeah, run some routes, catch some footballs. Earns an offer from Brian Hartline, and you know that he doesn't just hand those out to anybody. Yeah. That's a who's who of college football and first-round draft picks there. So, you know, sometimes these things materialize. You see them work out. You get a little different perspective. You have a chance to earn an offer in these summer camps. So it's a mutually beneficial situation. Is that going to happen for 99.9% of the kids who show up to work out there? No, but that's not why you do it if you're in that other 99%, because it's just a really cool opportunity, and so many kids grow up dreaming about playing at Ohio State. You might not get to that level, but at least for a day or two, you can get an experience of what that might be like.
And it's skills that you can then take back, and I think about just the good coaching that you're going to get and be able to help yourself wherever you might go off of that. For Ohio State, Brewster was there. Jalen Brewster is the number 1 interior defensive lineman for 2027. And a quarterback, Brady Edmonds, who was already committed to Ohio State, was there. So, obviously Brewster probably the one. He was working there with Larry Johnson a little bit and just kind of being there. And it's a little recruiting that's going on, but for a guy like Edmonds, I can only imagine, who's again committed to Ohio State, to be able to help him say, hey, we want you to be successful in high school, but here's some of the things we're seeing, or here's some of the things we'd like you to work on over the next couple of years.
And it's a chance for an extended opportunity, for Brady Edmonds to be around. He's in California. So we talked for the last several years about Tavian St. Clair, the advantage he had. You have a local product. He's, half an hour up the road. He was every spring practice, he was popping into Ohio State over the last couple of years. Every spring camp, a chance to go throw, to work with Ryan Day, to work with Billy Fessler, work with Chip Kelly before that. He was constantly around, so that had multiple benefits. It's helping to speed up the growth process, the learning process, which it is not easy. I don't know that I can ever highlight that enough. Playing quarterback at Ohio State is one of the hardest things that you could possibly do in sports. So anything you can do to help ease that transition and jumpstart your process, you got to take advantage of that. And it's not going to be as easy for Brady Edmonds to do that, but he flew over from California. So he worked out on Thursday. He was around to work, to see and meet some of the official visitors over the weekend. He was there again today, working out, stayed with the family throughout the weekend. So he had another chance to go out there on the practice field with Ryan Day, with Billy Fessler, throwing to wide receivers, getting to know Brian Hartline. All those things, and he's going to be out there, I believe, again tomorrow before he heads home later this week. So those are big deals, because there aren't other opportunities where, high school juniors, high school seniors, high school sophomores, whenever you commit, whenever you get an offer, that you actually just get to be around the coaching staff and say, well, you might be able to sneak a peek here at the playbook, or you go look at that weight room. Maybe you can sneak in some opportunities there. To see what it's like. And Mickey Marotti might hand you a little blueprint to take home and a little workout tip sheet that you can do, that's allowed by your program at home. They always say when you're in the Woody, your high school coach is right. They're teaching you the Ohio State way when you're at camp. And unless that there's a direct conflict, you want to take as much of that with you home as you can and take that to your teammates. And that's something that Brady Edmonds can do. So it's not just for his program back at high school, but also as he prepares for when he inevitably does arrive at Ohio State.
What were some of your other takeaways, Austin, for the first one? Like you said, the second one was out there today, some carryover. Yeah. But anybody else you really had your eye on it there at the Ohio State camps?
Yeah, for me, I let Berm tackle if somebody pops, if somebody gets an offer. While he's out there working with the recruiting side, I think it's what makes a great partnership and a great team for us. I'm trying to work on, getting a look at the current roster, because now we're 2 months removed from the end of spring camp, the spring showcase, the spring game in the Horseshoe. And these guys can change so much, Matt, physically in the span of 2 months when they're in the...
I think I know where you're going. I'm interested to see if you're going to talk about somebody's arms, if you will.
Yeah, that's usually the thing that you notice first. Thursday, I was in here on the Buckeye Show raving about Edric Houston and getting up to 295. The other piece of this key defensive tackle, spot, we've spent so much time. We will continue to spend time looking at the depth and the rotation, and if Ohio State has what it needs on the defensive tackle depth chart. At the top, you have Edric Houston, and then the first guy out to go do some extra work today, he was out there by himself, pounding on that sled, working on his technique, the hand placement, Caden McDonald. So he's doing a little bit of the opposite thing of Edric Houston, where Edric Houston is putting that weight on. He's gained 50 pounds since he arrived at Ohio State. Caden McDonald's still working to slim down a little bit, but it's the extra. Nobody's forcing these guys to do that. They don't have to be at the camp. They don't have to be a counselor. It's the voluntary team activity. I know Bobby Carpenter will scoff at that. Tyvis Powell will scoff at that. You have to be part of them. But this was a 15-minute period where no one was out there on the sled, and Caden McDonald's like, you know what, I'm going to do this right now and get that extra work in. So that's critical, because those two guys have to be key, not just key cogs. Like, they have to be real dudes for Ohio State to be the number one defense in the country again and get where they want to go in the college football playoff, because Ty Hamilton and Tyleik Williams, they were that, and they set an extremely high standard. Tyleik becoming a first-round pick, Ty Hamilton coming off in the middle rounds there. Both of those guys played at such a high level. And they ate up a lot of snaps. And that's what really Ohio State is expecting from Caden McDonald and Edric Houston.
I thought you might go with Arvell Reese.
Well, I don't.
Too, you know?
I really want to figure out what planet Jeremiah Smith is from, and if Arvell is, from a close proximity or maybe the same one.
Moon or something?
Today I said, man, I'm telling you, this is a true story. This is not just for radio. I turned to Berm and I was like, I feel like he's getting taller. Every time you see him, he changes physically. And last week he got the Ohio State one of the Dude of the Week honors just for the way that they approach the workout. Good chance that he might be an Iron Buckeye by the time that summer is over as well. He has changed so dramatically, his body, and it's one of the most jaw-dropping physiques I think that you're ever going to see. It's crazy now to think what he could become in year 3 for Ohio State as he gets more comfortable and settles into that linebacker position and works with James Laurinaitis. He can do everything that you could possibly ask for. The fact that you're putting him next to Sonny Styles is also terrifying to think about. There's like 2 pterodactyls flying around the field. But yeah, I mean, that was the thing that I thought today. It's like, yes, we see Arvell Reese refining and building that physique. But then today I was just like, I think he's taller. Like, how is this possible?
How is this happening? How is this happening? Well, Ohio State finds them, and boy, are they able to develop them, as we all know. Talked a lot of football. Let's flip over some basketball. A little tease coming from the basketball courts. And I don't know how much carryover there's from Ohio State to NASCAR, but there's a little bit this past weekend. We'll tell you what it was right here on the Buckeye Show.
We know everything about you. We know you love the Buckeyes. We know you love the Jackets. We know you're wearing a red shirt. I just freaked the hell out of someone. The Fan.
At Kroger, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Kroger, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Check out this amazing deal on Kellogg's cereal. Select varieties or buy 2, get 3 free with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Everyone has a fave Wendy's Frosty flavor. And when you're choosing from chocolate or vanilla, it's not that hard. But now, there's all new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions. So try picking your fave from Oreo Brownie Fusion, Pop-Tarts Strawberry Fusion, Strawberry Swirl, Brownie Batter Swirl, Caramel Swirl, and Caramel Crunch Fusion. Not so easy now, huh? For a fresh way to Frosty, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
Participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary by location. Oreo is a trademark of Mondelez International Group. Pop-Tarts is a trademark of Kellogg North America Co., LLC. Used with permission.
Come on over to Heartland and join our family.
Now, community banking is the lifeblood of the American financial system, building strong, lasting relationships. We're just better able to help guide you down life's road. Flexibility is paramount to success. Community banking is alive and well in the Heartland. I'm Scott McComb. Come on over to Heartland, where banking really feels good.
Where banking feels good.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
What is dippable and dunkable? And now at Donato's, it's Donato's new chicken dippers. Flavorful boneless chicken breast tenders served up with 7 amazing dipping sauce options, including new garlic parmesan and sweet chili. For a limited time, try new chicken dippers for just $5 on the $5 Pizza Pals menu. More toppings, more flavor, more fun. Donato's. Gotta love more.
When it comes to your cancer diagnosis, the choice for your care is clear.
And when you choose the James at Ohio State,
you're opting for care from a highly specialized team dedicated to treating one type of cancer, yours.
A team that studies the unique makeup of your disease to develop a personalized treatment plan.
You're choosing our region's only comprehensive cancer center designated by the National Cancer Institute.
For your cancer care, the choice is clear. The James at Ohio State.
It's Kubota Orange Days. From America's #1 selling compact tractor to zero-turn mowers and versatile RTVs, get your perfect match delivered to your door. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,500 off BX23S tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Visit BuckeyeKubotaDealers.com to find a dealer near you.
What's the best favorite fan shows? Oh, no. Download the Fan app, silly.
Ah, damn it, I knew that.
App Store, Google Play, or just scream right at your phone. Psst, you can also listen to Buckeye games. Do it now.
With over 33 years in business, Newman Roofing believes white glove services shouldn't be a thing of the past. From the first call, you'll be greeted with friendly professionals to answer all your questions. Special financing options available now, so call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit newmanroofing.com.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Buckeye Lake Marina has it all. Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
If only life had a remote control, you could pause or rewind. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Cosby Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Social media can be a cesspool. Allow us to navigate the waters. #Buckeyes.
Sponsored by The Waterworks. Call the plumbing, heating, and cooling technicians at The Waterworks and header today. Call 614-232-2222. Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Got a little tease from the Ohio State men's program on the basketball side for a potential new court. A little crossover to NASCAR we'll get right here on the Buckeye Show, presented by our great friends at Coors Light. And I made mention of it, but I want to do it again. Austin and Berm, you guys are up on the YouTube side of things on 97.1. So I know you're getting your videos out there as well. So if anybody needs to go subscribe to the YouTube channel over there at 97.1, you had a recap from that and plenty of things rolling over there.
Yep. Got some snap judgments up from today's camp. So Berm hitting the recruiting piece, recapping some of the weekend there for the Buckeyes, as you mentioned earlier on in the Buckeye Show. Favour Akih with the commitment. So guys trying to work and earn some offers out there. I talked more about Caden McDonald in that video and what we saw from Marvell Reese as well. So Matt teed that up perfectly. But some snap judgments and then the beat tomorrow morning. It'll be a Talkin' Tuesday with Adam King joining me for that show, as we do every single week, to mix it up a little bit and talk to our good buddy. A lot of NIL Go conversation, a lot of College Sports Commission conversation, and how Ohio State is responding and how quickly they responded to the House settlement news on Friday night and implementing the Buckeye Sports Group quickly on Monday morning. So a lot of that stuff will be on Tuesday's episode of The Beat. That's on all audio platforms, YouTube, 97.1, 10 TV, 10 TV Plus.
Awesome. Love it. And again, a lot of great content. Go check it out there at 97.1 The Fan on YouTube. So Ohio State basketball sending out a tweet with a little teaser that there's going to be a new court that will be announced coming up this Friday. And it's funny how, like, teams have become so good, like social media teams, just even in pro sports, certainly college, about doing this kind of stuff. Where Austin, I'm sitting there, I'm watching the clip over and over again to be like, oh, okay, they showed this court. Oh, wait, they showed this court. They must be leaning this way or not. And listen, I know we all, Ohio State basketball is going to get back to the promise that it had of years past. And, for some of us of years growing up with Kraft and Diebler and Sullinger and all those kind of guys, we'll get there again. But I'm really excited to see what they have cooked up. And like I said, I saw a lot of vintage, old courts that they kept showing, and obviously some big ones, Big Ten championships, big regular season games and all that. So I'm excited. I'll be tuned in on Friday to see what the new court's going to look like.
That's how you know the social media team did its job. It was not something that you were thinking about at the start of the day. It's like, gosh, I wonder what Ohio State's basketball court's going to look like this year. Not something that you would have ever been thinking about. And then suddenly, like 15 seconds later, after you're watching the video and getting hyped up and seeing these highlights from years past, like, wait, now I have to wait till Friday? No, I need information and I need it now.
No, and it's something that all part of that branding and all part of the excitement to get around it. Like, it's not like you can go buy a T-shirt with the new court on it, but like you said, we're all going to be tuned in and watching. It's going to be an exciting time, so we'll get that on Friday. Are you a big NASCAR fan?
I'm more of an F1 guy, but if somebody wins a race and they might be an Ohio State fan and they go across the border and throw up OH, that moves the needle. In fact, you get to it, and then I'll tell you.
Well, it was Denny Hamlin. So he won at Michigan. I am a NASCAR fan. So I grew up, my dad's a giant IndyCar fan. I didn't know that Tim May was he went to the Indy 500 for 40 years in a row. Him and I were talking about that.
As much as the godfather of the Ohio State beat, he's got that mayor of Indianapolis tag too.
He's got it. So him and I were talking about, my dad is a huge IndyCar fan, but my dad's a big NASCAR fan. He's just a racing fan. So he kind of bled that, if you will, into his 5 sons. So we all watched the race. So I'm a big NASCAR fan. And I really I did not know that Denny Hamlin was an Ohio State fan. I really didn't. So he wins the race in Michigan. He gets out there and he tosses up the OH. And I guess this is legit that he's an Ohio State, because the first thing I thought of was, Austin, there are times where people go, what's Bryce Harper doing here? And then you got to realize, oh, wait, his wife, and that's legit. LeBron, right? Probably would have gone to Ohio State. Everybody wanted the dream that he was going to go play for the Akron Zips, but in hindsight, if he had to go, he probably would have gone. And heck, maybe even played football for Jim Tressel. I don't know, but Ohio State. But it's you see it when you're that popular. I guess it's easy to have the bandwagon fans out there, and I'm not crying. I'm not saying that Denny Hamlin is not a bandwagon fan. I just, even as a NASCAR fan, I didn't know he was a Buckeye fan. So I welcome him. Good job, man.
I think he was at both. I'm trying to remember. I think I saw him at the national championship game.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I think he might have been at the Cotton Bowl too. I'm going to check, because some of the podcast appearances that he does, I know the producer of that show. So I saw the celebration go up, and I immediately texted him. I said, I've seen Denny Hamlin around. I know that his fandom is legit. Berm and I have got to talk to him about, how that came to be. The heel turn, going across, winning a race in Michigan, throwing up the OH. I love for that. As a wrestling fan, anybody who wants to make those pure heel moves is going to be A-okay in my book. Taunt the crowd, get them going. So we're working on that, because I want to know more too, and then I'll be able to share some more of that background with him. But I think he was at both of the last 2 playoff games for Ohio State. He's the real deal.
He's making his pitch to be the guest picker on College Game Day when they come to Columbus.
Well, there you go.
That's the thing. He's got a long list of Ohio State. I feel like it's not. You got to talk to him. He's interesting. He's talking about heel turn. In the NASCAR scene, there are a lot of people that don't like Denny Hamlin. He's a guy that kind of is a little bit of a lightning rod, but it's also interesting that he's an owner. He owns a team that he does not drive for. Which is kind of like Dale Earnhardt. Dale Earnhardt Sr. started his own team while he was still racing for another team. So that's Denny Hamlin, because he's in with Michael Jordan. So there's a lot of stuff that I think you'd be able to get in with him. I had a fake famous Browns fan. You want that quick story? So we're and I did this. So I'm based out of Cleveland, and I've been up in Cleveland my whole life, covered the Browns for a long time. So when they were on Hard Knocks, okay. And of course, for Hard Knocks, they're gonna call everybody, and they're gonna try to get all these people to come out here because they get their 5 minutes of fame on HBO and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So Brad Paisley shows up, country singer. He's fine. He's at camp. Austin, Joel Bitonio walks up to him to introduce himself. Brad Paisley goes, "Hi, who are you?"
Oh, boy.
I go, "Fake fan." I go, "Fake fan. He's a fake fan." I go, "How do you not know who Joel Bitonio is? He is, I want to say, one of the few all-pros we have on this team, but he was established starter." And I go, "Dude, Browns fans, like Ohio State fans, know the roster 4 deep on that depth chart. And it's not some guy that just showed up. Is Joel Bitonio." Yeah. And I got so many people hate him. "Oh, just leave him alone. He wants to be a Browns fan. He's a famous Browns fan." He goes, "He's a phony." I go, "He doesn't even know who Joel Bitonio is."
That's weak.
I was like, that's unacceptable. Can't have that.
No, and that's so I was out at somewhere in particular brewing company with the family on Sunday afternoon, and there was a young baseball team. One of them, their families, they recognized me. They came over. They wanted to talk about the Buckeyes. It reminds me of what you're talking about, how well Browns fans, Buckeyes fans know their roster.
Oh, it's insane.
This young kid said, "Well, who do you think is going to lead Ohio State in rushing? Because James Peoples is back, and C.J. Donaldson is here from West Virginia." I think the kid was 7 years old. So he knows, I think, You look around the country, people who don't know who C.J. Donaldson is, that's going to be the vast majority of the population. This Ohio State fan, raised right, wants to know if C.J. Donaldson was going to lead Ohio State in rushing. That is the passion of these two fan bases. Brad Paisley could never.
Brad Paisley never. And people are like, well, if he just wants to, and I guess like it is a little different because it's like the Browns and everybody wants to, okay, we could use it. But
there's
Ohio
only 53
State,
guys on the roster. Come on.
Right, that's what I said. Everybody's like, well, if he wants to be a fan, like we don't have too many people that want to be on the Browns bandwagon and all that. And I was like, listen, have some respect for yourself. Stand up for yourself. We don't need everybody sitting there being a fake Browns fan. If you want to be legit, come on in. But like you said, we need more fans like that young man that's going to sit down and be able to talk shop with you. So I think that's pretty awesome.
Made my afternoon.
Yeah, no, that's the best part of it. So again, I have to welcome in. Like I said, I was not aware. I did not know. So you said Denny Hamlin's legit, so he's in. So now maybe I'll
test him. I'll test him for you when we get on.
Do that. I'm a little interested. Be like, do that. Ask him what we discussed. Mount Rushmore running backs, and if he doesn't struggle like we did,
he's not a real
run
one.
Through some names, some legit names out there.
Yeah.
Then we know. And I think that'd be great content. That's going to be awesome. On 97.1 The Fan, the YouTube, wherever you guys get that posted. It'll be awesome. It was a great job. Appreciate everybody joining us tonight. We got Reds Guardians baseball coming up as well. So we're going to be enjoying that going on. That game's been going back and forth. But you're going to have Austin and I tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, and then I'll be on Wednesday with Devere Posey, which is going to be a lot of fun. Austin had a lot of fun tonight, man. Learned a lot, and we're going to do it again tomorrow.
It was awesome. I'll be coming in hot from another day of camp tomorrow at the Woody, so we'll have plenty to break down as we always do on the Buckeye Show.
There you go. And again, you can follow Austin on Twitter. Go follow him, A-Ward Sports. We're all that you need there. And subscribe to everything that you need and all the great videos that they're posting with Berm there as well. 97.1 The Fan. Reimer, appreciate you, man. We'll talk to you tomorrow as well. For them, it's been the Buckeye Show. Reds Guardians baseball coming your way next here on The Fan.
If the sound of another man slammed against plexiglass turns you on, you've come to the right place. Proud to be your home for Jackets hockey. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
We've discovered the perfect morning ritual, the 2 for $6 breakfast sandwich deal at Tim Hortons. Every sandwich is made to order with a freshly cracked egg and melty cheese, just the way breakfast should be. Choose between savory sausage or hickory smoked bacon, served on a toasted English muffin or flaky biscuit. There's no wrong way to mix and match this tasty deal. 2 breakfast sandwiches, just $6. Perfect. Only at your neighborhood Tim Hortons. At participating U.S. restaurants, single item at regular menu price. Modifications and tax extra. Exclusions and additional terms apply.
At Kroger, an annual Boost membership is better than ever. Save up to $1,100 each year on gas, groceries, delivery fees, and streaming options. With double fuel points, unlimited free delivery, and exclusive savings for members, there's so much to love about Boost. Sign up for a Boost membership today. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
The future of recycling is now at Rumpke Waste and Recycling. The recycling leader has opened North America's largest, most technologically advanced recycling center right here in Central Ohio. This one-of-a-kind facility features interactive displays, educational opportunities, and the ability to process over 60 tons of recycled material per hour. Rumpke is committed to recycling and sustainability efforts, and for more than 90 years, Rumpke has worked to make sure the items you place in your recycling bin get used again. Visit Rumpke.com to learn how you can team with Rumpke to put less trash in our landfills and more of it to good use.
Things are popping at Al's Delicious Popcorn. With over 80 flavors to choose from, we have something for everyone. From classics like caramel cashew, white cheddar, and our famous vanilla butternut to new flavors like chicken and waffles and spicy barbecue. They are all made fresh and they are all delicious. Visit us online at alspopcorn.com or come see us and experience the best service in town at 1500 Bethel Road in Columbus. Al's Delicious Popcorn.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance is prepared for what's next and protects what matters most to you. With independent insurance agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova Insurance is an easy win for your peace of mind. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you.